Hey everyone, welcome to the Dram Amateur Podcast, your go-to show for everything bourbon, whiskey, rum, tequila, mezcal, and beyond. I'm your host, Jason. Join me as I journey and explore the world of alcoholic spirits. Let's get started. All right, welcome back to the Dram Amateur Podcast, the show where we explore the stories, spirits, and sips that make the world of whiskey, bourbon, rum, tequila, and mezcal so exciting. I'm your host, Jason, and I'm thrilled to have you here for another pour of a great conversation. I just read the same line twice. I'm off to a great fucking start this evening. Before we dive in, don't forget to connect with me on Instagram, X, and Threads at Dram_amateur and Facebook under the Dram Amateur Podcast to stay in the loop with exclusive content and updates. Whether you're a seasoned enthusiast or just starting your journey into the world of fine spirits, this is your spot to sip, learn, and share. So pour yourself something good, get comfortable, and let's kick off another unforgettable episode of the Dram Amateur Podcast. And tonight, I have another guest in the community spotlight. Super excited to have him on. You ready, Dram fam? Buckle up, because today we're bringing some serious flavor to the mic. Our guest is a certified bourbon steward, a proud member of the Spirit Animal Society, and a connoisseur of all things barrel-aged and bold. Whether it's bourbon, rum, or whiskey, this guy knows his pours and probably has the perfect cigar to pair them with. You've seen him dropping knowledge and killer tasting notes on Instagram, but now he's here to chat, sip, and maybe even school us a little. So pour yourself something special and help me welcome the one and only Two Cigar to the podcast. Man, welcome to the show. Glad to have you on.
Thank you for having me. You probably clouded me up a little bit too much there. I don't want to disappoint your audience.
No. It's all good, man. It's all good. No, I'm super excited to have you on. This has been a long time coming. You and I have talked now for a little bit, and it's kind of cool to have you on the show and talk about you, right, and showcase you and what you're all about and tell everybody. So we have a platform to give you for it. So I hope you're excited to be here.
More than excited to be here. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So let's start at the easy spot, right? So you're going to get thrown a ton of questions probably. Let's start the easy stuff first. What are you drinking, right? What's in your glass? I saw you were smoking a pipe before we started, which is fantastic. What are you drinking? What's in your glass tonight?
So I'm breaking a cardinal rule, and I'm probably going to be mixing spirits. Nice. Here, I have Starlight Spiced Rum, and once this runs out, we will be going to Starlight Small Batch.
Nice. So I will share a little something about Starlight. And I have a fun thing that I've yet to do with my buddies yet. I poo-poo on Starlight a little bit. Not in the influencer space, just personally in my own home space. I had a bottle of Starlight that I purchased somewhere. It was a double oak. And I am not a big double oak fan, and this thing was oaky as hell. So I judged and this is really not fair to Starlight. I judged Starlight based on one bottle, which you shouldn't do. And I'm not stupid to that, right? But I always tell everybody, I'm not a big Starlight fan. I don't know. I'll try it. So my buddy has, I don't know, it's 7, 8, 9 bottles. So I have 6 sample bottles of Starlight with numbers, just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I don't know what they are. I don't know what the finish is or anything. And we're supposed to get together on a podcast and me try them. So at some point, we're going to do that. But yeah, me and Starlight have this, I don't know. I wouldn't say a love-hate relationship, but it's like I just got off on the wrong foot, right? It's like you walk into a place and you see a girl and you're like, hey, you're fat. It's probably not the right way to start a conversation with a woman, right? So I just got off on the wrong foot.
It's okay. I did the same thing with Woodford. I'm not a double oaked guy either.
Did you? Okay.
I don't get the hype behind it, but my first Woodford was double oaked. Haven't touched it since.
But you know what's funny? I don't like the Woodford double oak either, man. How weird is that?
It's overhyped. It's just oak.
Yeah. Yeah, but you know what I do like, and I don't know if you saw Mr. Given on Instagram posted the Sagamore Double Oak. Dude, I love that stuff. I don't know what it is about that. That bottle's killer. I'll drink that stuff all day. I don't know. I don't know what it is. So, but let's get into some topics with you, right? First of all, you have been on Instagram. I went to go back to see how long you've been on Instagram, but like I was scrolling for days and I was still scrolling. I was like, okay, I'm just going to talk to him about it. When did you start Instagram and what got you started? Like, why did you start into all this?
So I started April of, I want to say 2023. I think I'm getting ready to hit my 2-year mark.
Good for you.
The real start of it was I got tired of losing the cigar bands that I was keeping. I enjoyed knowing what I was smoking, and I was always like, damn, what was that one cigar I smoked? So then I'd go to my little jar that I had filled with all my bands, and I would just empty it out and go, was it this one? So I eventually created the Instagram to be my digital cigar journal.
Smart. That's smart because I'm the same way with cigars. I listen to Smoke and Sounds Pod and a couple of the other cigar podcasts I listen to, Lounge Life Podcast as well. I will sit there and I will start writing down cigars in my Google Note, right? And then I will go buy them and try them. And then I'll forget. I'm like, oh, did I try this one yet? Is it still in my cigar box? Which one did I like? Which one did I not like? So yeah, so same thing. So it's cool that you did that. So you're visually doing it, but then were you taking notes as well about the cigars to know which ones you liked?
Oh, I wish I had my camera going that way. My top shelf is filled with composition notebooks, filled with
that's cool.
My reviews, my thoughts, things like that. Last year I smoked over 300 cigars. So it's hard for me to even take pictures of them all because phones die and I can't walk around with a Canon T7 all day.
Yeah. Do you use a camera to take your pictures? Like an actual camera?
I do. A good friend of mine that I actually met through the cigar community on Instagram got me started on that. Photo de Puros. I know I butchered his name. My Spanish is horrible. I'm in the middle of Kentucky.
All good. Yeah, it's funny. I don't use a camera, but everybody does. And it's like one of those things like I have to get into to like, I don't know, like I got to start trying it because I'm like, I also funny. I was looking back through my camera reel this morning on Instagram, and you could tell, like, I don't want to say they're not the best quality, but they're not the best quality pictures. On your phone, they look fantastic, but when you upload it to Instagram, something's like the resolution changes or something like that. So a lot of people I know use an actual camera, so that's really cool. And your shots, even recently, since I've started to follow you and connect with you, your shots are really cool, man. I like the way you I like the way you post the different pictures of the same topic, but you have it in different ways. Like you'll take different angles. I've seen some out of the snow, some in the snow. Some things are covered with snow, so you must have snow where you're at. But it's pretty cool, man. You have a really good creative mind, and I really appreciate that looking at your content.
I greatly appreciate that. Believe it or not, we don't get a lot of snow here in Kentucky. So when we got it, I brought like 30 bottles outside, and I fought through that frostbite trying to get them.
That's fantastic. That's cool. So you started in the cigar world, and then a lot of your content now you have whiskeys, and I've seen some rum content as well. Tell me about that. Like, did you actually, first, let me ask another question first. Sorry. Did you start smoking cigars in April of 2023, or like when did you actually start appreciating and enjoying cigars?
So I actually have been legal to smoke cigars twice. I don't know
hold on. I got to do the math on this one.
I started smoking cigars when I was 18 years old. Okay. And I believe in 2019, it was either late 18, early 19, the good old ATF and federal government made the cigar and tobacco limit to 21.
Oh, I did not know. I don't know if I knew that.
They did. I'm only 25 this year. I started smoking cigars because a lot of the guys I hung out with, they were older gentlemen, and they smoked cigars. And one of them was a older Korean War vet, and the man never not had a cigar in his mouth.
Understood.
So I saw him doing it, and I'm like, damn, that looks cool. I'm going to start doing that. So I would just walk around with an acid or a Drew Estate Java in my mouth. And I used to think I was the man walking around with my little 3-pound dog on a leash.
Hey, cigars and small dogs, man. There's nothing wrong with that.
But after that, I stopped smoking them for a good while. I got tired. I'm like, Have to wait 2 more years to be legal again. I'm done. Then I traveled the world, and I ended up in a hostel bar in Poland.
Oh, wow.
And the bar closed down for the night. It was probably 4 in the morning. Maybe 4 in the morning. I don't know what time it was. I've been drinking all night. And the bartender pulls out 3 cigars. And I've been at this bar since I arrived, and I was there for like 3 months at this point. So he and I are on this first name basis. He pulls out 3 cigars and goes, "Do you smoke?" And next thing you know, me, him, and his buddy, we're just sitting there at this underground bar in Poland, smoking cigars, talking philosophy, religion, and life.
Man, that's awesome.
So that got me back into cigars at about 21 years old.
Okay. That's cool. That's cool. I can imagine that was a very interesting conversation for sure.
The best conversations happen at underground bars at 4 a.m. when you have a lethal amount of Polish beer in your system.
True that. True that. True that. That's very cool. Yeah, it's that's cool that you did that. Did you remember like what the cigars were that you had, or were they unbanded or anything like that? Do you remember?
I honestly don't remember.
Okay.
I remember that he said they might have been Cuban, but for all I know, they were glass box Cuban, made with dog hair and toenail clippings.
All good. Yeah, when I go to, I went to Munich December of 23, and one of the things it was July of 24 when I was there. One of the things I want to do is go to the different cigar shops around where my hotel was and try to find cigars that I couldn't find here in the U.S. and not Cubans, because I don't want to risk my global entry and my TSA pre-check. Thank you very much. I don't want that taken away from me. And honestly, too, like I don't want to poo-poo on Cuban cigars, but I don't find them that special. I mean, they're fine. I've had some amazing other cigars that are not Cuban, so I'm just like, okay, like whatever. So I don't want to risk it.
Give me a Padron 1926 every day.
Really? Okay. Yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's better cigars out there. It's like bourbon, right? Like, you spend $500 on a bottle of bourbon. It doesn't mean it's the best damn bottle you've ever had. And you have better ones at $25, So it's like it happens, right? Everyone's palates are different. So, well, that's really cool that you had that experience. All right. So let me go back to the original question. Now that I was like, let me close the other question out because I had other questions about it. So bourbon and I see a lot of bourbon, I see a lot of rum, and I see a lot of whiskey. You've drank some pretty wild whiskeys lately that I've never freaking even heard of, which is cool though for somebody. Again, this is where it's funny. When I was scrolling this morning through my reels, I saw the one that I posted at the beginning of 25 talking about like, you're an influencer. I don't care if you have 10 followers and somebody likes your stuff, or you have 50,000 followers and people like your stuff. If you post about it and one person likes your post, or one person buys something because what you write or what you post, you're an influencer. So for me, like looking at your content, dude, you've been posting shit I've never even heard of or seen before, which is cool though, because again, everything gets so saturated with taters and all the same thing over and over and over again, and the creativity is cool on it, but I want to see something I've never seen before. Like, tell me about something I've never had before. So it's been really cool. So when did you get into bourbon and whiskey and rum, and like how did it start, and like how's your evolution over the last couple of years been?
So Meta got me into posting bourbon, rum, cigars. For a good bit of last year, I just lived in Instagram jail.
Okay. Oh, did you really?
You're pushing tobacco products. You're pushing. I was a part of that big wave of this is arranging sexually explicit activities.
Cigars are not sexually explicit in any way, shape, and form.
Tell that to Meta. But I was a part of that big wave of just getting spanked by them. So
that's crazy.
I didn't want to give up posting. Posting is my outlet. I enjoy doing it. I love the photography aspect. And I'm like, I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to let the meta overlords just suppress me. So what else can I post? Well, I already posted cigars and they didn't like that. My other hobby is drinking.
All of our hobbies.
So I started posting a little bit of the craft distilleries in my area. I live in northern Kentucky. We have New Riff, Neely, Boone County. And I'm like, I have these great distilleries that aren't Buffalo Trace. Are they really getting the recognition that they deserve? So I started posting their stuff and just trying to show as much love to the craft distilleries that were specifically in my area while I was being suppressed for my cigar content.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So you mentioned two brands there that I'll speak about really quick. From my experience, New Riff has been nothing but like straight like climb. I remember I'm in Georgia, and you used to never be able to get New Riff in Georgia. So we always go up to Chattanooga. We're about an hour and a half from Chattanooga. And that's where I could buy New Riff. So I've bought, the single barrels, the ryes, the bourbons. I have a 6-year malted rye. I have another one too, and I don't remember. Oh, I have the Balboa rye that you posted a picture of the other day as well. And I'll tell you what, man, I haven't had any of the newer releases because I've gone 90 days now without buying a bottle. I must be sick, but
you feeling okay?
I heard. Yeah, I'm feeling good. They've really climbed, and it's really impressive to see. So kudos to New Riff. So whatever they're doing it right. The other one is Boone County. So there are rumors that there was releases of Boone County back in the day, like back in the 2018, 2017, with those, like, I think they were 14-year-old, like single barrels or whatever, that were supposedly some of the most ridiculous and insane shit that's ever been put in a bottle. My buddy has had them before. They're gone now, obviously. I see a couple of them sometimes sporadically, like posted on the internet. But man, I've heard nothing but like amazing things about those. It's one of those things that if I ever find one, I need to try it.
I have a few older, I don't want to call them dusty bottles, but a few older bottles that I will definitely get your address and send to you.
That'd be cool. And I got some amazing rums I'll send you too, since you're a rum guy.
My man.
So what started first? The chicken or the egg? No, was it bourbon, whiskey, rum? Like how did it all start, and how did you get into each one of them?
So it started off whiskey.
Okay.
I went to Boone County. I actually grew up less than 5 minutes from their distillery. And I always heard it. I always smelt their actual rickhouse and fermentation. And one day my wife and I had a random Monday off. And she said, get in the car. I booked us a surprise. So I got in the car and we drove to Boone County. She booked us a tour, and that was my first experience with whiskey neat. And I'm like, oh my God, what is this? This is great. So from there, it went from whiskey to then I got tired of whiskey prices.
Keep going.
So then I went to rum. And I discovered a lot of great budget-friendly rums because rum just doesn't want to jack up those prices.
Yep. Yeah. So it's funny. First of all, your wife deserves a Wife of the Year award for planning a surprise trip to a distillery to take you on a tour. That's fantastic. But yeah, one of the things that got me into rum was the same thing you just said, was the price of everything and the chasing things. Because as much as you like hunting for bottles and doing things like that, it gets to the point where it's nauseating that you see bottles that should be enjoyed, that should be shared, that should be appreciated, and they're just sitting on the shelves for ridiculous prices. Most recent example is Jack 14. Chattanooga bourbon pages are saying it's posted for $6.99 in Chattanooga, and I'm like, this is just ridiculous. Like, it's just stupid. Like, I'll never pay that for a bottle of Jack 14, and unfortunately it's going to sit on the shelf until somebody eventually buys it. But same thing. I got into rum for that one reason, because I then started to see that there was aged spirits from different regions across the globe that all tasted different based on the region they were in, and their fermentation process and distilling process and so on and so forth. And man, I'll tell you what, I started out with a Foursquare 2009. I think I bought a Ron Zacapa, which I don't drink anymore. And then I had Diplomatico, which I'm not a big fan of Diplomatico either. But the Foursquare 2009 kind of got me into that rabbit hole to go fall down. And I remember I ended up going then to another local liquor store, and I was telling him I was looking for rum, and he ended up bringing out 2 Hampton bottles that I hadn't had, and I passed on one of them, and it was a Bird Series bottle, and I should have bought it. That was the dumbest thing in the world. But I was still exploring, right? And I think the one thing that I realized with rum was, for me, it was polarizing. I either liked it because it was fantastic, or there was additives in it, and I didn't want the additive sugary flavors, right? I wasn't in the mood for that, so it took me a little bit while to find my market and where I wanted to be. And then, yeah, it's all history from there.
Definitely. I enjoy a good spiced rum, don't get me wrong.
No, nothing wrong with that.
My start off was Starlight spiced rum, but nothing beats my go-to is El Dorado. 3-year, 5-year. I recently had that 21-year, which is a blessing from the rum gods. Nothing beats a good barrel-aged rum, but a good spiced rum when you just want something to drink on a nice hot summer day. As long as it's not Bacardi spiced.
Yeah. Sorry, Bacardi. No, but that's a really good point. And didn't El Dorado just release like single barrels or cask strength releases just recently, I thought?
I believe they just released cask strength, which I'm waiting to get my hands on, because a cask strength rum is going to be absolutely magical. Those extra proof points.
That's what I've heard. I've heard nothing but great things about it too, so that should be really cool to kind of dive in and get your hands on. And I'll keep an eye out for them. If I see anything, I'll give you a ping and let you know. And if I got to ship you something, if you're interested, I can totally help you out with that too.
I hope my wife's not listening before I agree to that.
You don't have to agree to anything. I mean, we can keep it on the down low. You didn't agree to it; just showed up at your house. That just happens.
It was a giveaway. I won it.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about how you spin it. So how did you do? So cool that you're a certified bourbon steward too. I have a shit palate. That's why I'm the Dram Amateur. I live up to the hype. But I don't do very good with tasting notes, right? I would imagine a certified bourbon steward has to have a decent palate, tasting notes, all that stuff. How'd you get into that? Why was that a passion for you? Those kind of things.
So I'm getting ready to burst your bubble, and I am so sorry.
Oh, no, what?
So I am also a writer for Cigar Public.
Are you really?
That's
cool as shit.
And I actually wanted to do an article for them on, is Bourbon Steward worth it? Because if you scroll through Instagram, you scroll through TikTok, YouTube, Reddit, you can spot taters a mile away by that nice little Bourbon Steward in the bio.
Okay.
And I was just curious, is it really worth it? So I went through a very well-accredited Bourbon Steward, and it was very interesting. It doesn't break down palate, though. It doesn't talk about notes. It talks more about mash bill, fermentation process. If you go through at least 4 distillery tours, it will actually cover everything on that 20-question quiz.
Oh, really?
So, don't get me wrong, I'm glad I did it, and I'm definitely saving up for the executive bourbon steward, which breaks down flavors, scents. But, for the most part, all the bourbon steward is talking about the history.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, so I've never looked into it before. I see it and I'm like, oh, that's cool as shit. Somebody invested time in their life to put into it, and I mean, it's respectable, right? Even if you're taking the time to do that and learn the history and the process and all that stuff, I think that's really cool. But that's cool that you did that for the article. So it was the article meant to. Was it meant to just kind of talk about like it's overhyped, or like what was the main point of the article with it?
So the main point of it, I'm blue collar. My wife and I definitely don't have Pappy Van Winkle money.
None of us do.
Exactly. And I like to run everything I post, everything I review through 3 filters. Is it good? Can you find it? Is it worth the money? And I wanted to run it through, is it worth the money on that? And the one I paid for was a little less than $100, and I think it was worth it. I think it was worth learning the history without having to drop distillery tour money. But I just wanted to find out, like, is it worth paying for that Bourbon Steward certificate, that Bourbon Steward pen? And because we all see it, and how many of us have gone, I'm going to do that one day.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. No, it's respectable, man. I appreciate that. No, it's really interesting. That's cool to know. Yeah, I don't know if I'd ever try it. I don't know. Maybe I would. Who knows? But that's pretty cool. I appreciate the insight on that. It's good to know that, you have that forethought to kind of share that feedback with everybody as well, to whether it's worth it or not. You're also a member of the Spirit Animal Society, which is pretty cool. I know there's I follow. Gosh, I can't even tell you how many members of the Spirit Animal Society that I follow. How'd you guys get into that? Like, what's your spirit? Don't you have a spirit animal that's connected to you too? Like, what is that? How's that been? What does that look like?
So, I love being a part of the Spirit Animal Society. I followed them on Instagram for a while, and eventually I reached out to one of their members, Mashbill or Masher Pass 6. Great dude. He got me connected with one of their leaders. They got me put in. It's a great community. I highly recommend for people to go check them out. We're always welcoming people with open arms. This is not a paid sponsorship. And
no, that's cool.
We do have spirit animals. All that is just whatever animal you like the most or whatever animal you feel connected to. I'm a trash panda. I eat like shit all day and I want to sleep all night or sleep all day.
I love it. I love it, man. That's fantastic. I just saw a video of a trash panda today that was like someone's pet. It was this big fat ass trash panda. It was just like laying there and they're rubbing its belly and it was like, hell yeah. It wasn't even moving. You could see it like this. It was almost like smiling. That's fantastic. I love it.
My favorite one is the where they're in the Dunkin' drive-thru and you see the Dunkin' person. They're like handing it the donut. Or there's another one of like, it's clearly in Florida because this is like some Florida people shit.
What the Florida? That's a true phrase. What the Florida?
I was born in Florida. I'm allowed to crack that joke.
Are you? Okay.
But they're standing on this like wooden bridge and they're saying, we're feeding the fishes. And they're throwing this random like food in the river. And you're like, it's going to be alligators or real fish. No, it's like 30 raccoons just devouring what they're throwing. And I'm like, that's me. I would probably eat random food that people threw at me.
If it was good, I'm not going to say no to it. Let's be honest.
It doesn't even have to be good. Like, if you throw a Twinkie at me, I'm a fat man. I'm devouring that.
My lunch today, because we went to they had a wildlife expo in the town I live in today. And I was like, let's just go check it out. We have nothing to do. It's a gorgeous day here. So my lunch today was pork rinds and pickles. That was my lunch today.
But that's low carb. It works.
Yeah. I should have thrown a Twinkie in there somewhere. So
if anyone asks, you had a keto lunch.
yeah, that's true. I didn't think about that. So
you see, I just made you healthier.
Yeah, I don't think it was because my doctor says my cholesterol's too high, but I'll worry about that another day. That's a whole different topic. This is not a doctor podcast in any way, shape, and form. This is enjoy your life and eat the shit you want podcast.
Doctors also say drinking is bad for you, but yet here we are.
What the hell ever. Yeah, exactly. What the hell ever. Everything in moderation, So... All right, man. So let's do this. If you're ready, as you know, so I will tell you all as the audience that I always ask my guests when they come on, do they want to have the question shared with them ahead of time, or do they want to be surprised? And either answer is completely fine. I will support either way. Two Cigar had said no, surprise me. So I'm going to drop the questions on you, and if it takes a while for you to think about it, like that's completely fine too. But yeah, I think it's pretty fun to kind of go through it this way. So let's start dropping questions. First categories are going to be cigars and spirits, the art of pairing. I see a lot of your content, a lot of cigar content, a lot of liquor content as well, or alcoholic spirits content, whatever you want to call it. So I think it's really cool. So I'm going to get into some pretty thought-provoking questions. Hopefully it really starts to get you thinking and get some good insight from you. So first one, you ready?
Ready for it.
All right. So cigars and spirits are both about nuance and complexity. What's one pairing that shouldn't work but absolutely does?
Ooh, shouldn't work but absolutely does. Man, that's a tough one. I'm going to have to say this past fall, I experimented a little bit, and I paired a Padron 50th anniversary with a apple cider old-fashioned, if you will.
Oh, okay, okay.
And I know that there's going to be a lot of cigar purists saying, you ruined it. It paired very well. That Padron 50th anniversary had a lot of naturally sweet notes. It had some chocolate. It had a little bit of dark cherry in there, mixed with that nice apple cider old fashioned, which brought in those just sweet apple notes with a little bit of the bourbon bitterness. It just paired excellently.
That's pretty cool, man. I wouldn't, to be honest with you, I don't think I would ever think about pairing a cigar with any kind of like old fashioned. And I think the main reason for that, maybe if I made it myself, I would. But for me, it's one of the drinks that is so polarizing because everybody can make it a different way. So like I had one today we were walking from the expo back to the car, and there was like a little I don't want to call it a restaurant. I don't know. I really don't know what it is, like a hangout spot. And they have beer and they have liquor and all that stuff. So I had an old fashioned, and it wasn't the worst, but it was just over sweet. It was too much sugar, too much sugar in it. And I was just like, I was just like, this sucks, and I hate it. So I would never think that. So that's really cool that you paired that.
Very similar to you. I don't drink an old fashioned unless I make it at home.
Yeah. Or I look at the bartender and I try one, and then I'll tell them I'm like a quarter of the sweetness that you put in, right? Like I want to taste the bourbon, the rye, and I'm a rye guy in my old fashions. So I'm like, I want to taste the alcohol, right? The bitter should complement it. The cherry, the orange, right? Even the sugar that you put in, whatever sugar you put in it, it should complement it. It shouldn't overpower it where all you taste is sweetener and bitters. It's not the right way to make a old fashioned in any way, shape, and form.
Completely agree. I know for a fact I used my New Breath 8-year rye in that old fashioned. And just the spice notes mixed with the nice wooded notes in there. The two paired perfectly. I don't care what anyone says. It tasted great.
No, listen. If people poo-poo on the way you did a pairing between a cigar and a cocktail, that is not our kind of people. Everybody has a different palate. Try different things, and hell, try everything, man. Pair. I don't know, a cigar with, I don't know, pizza. Maybe it goes together. Who the hell knows? I don't know. Try it, man.
There's a weird sub-community that does pair their cigars with food.
Is there? Oh, is there really?
Like, you'll hear some people say this is a great steak cigar or a great steak dinner cigar. This would go great with a chocolate cake. There is a good sub amount of people that do pair cigars with food.
Man, you're teaching me like tons of shit tonight. I had no idea. I mean, you think steak, right? You're thinking like a red wine, or you're thinking like a barrel, like a Elijah Craig barrel proof or something like that. You're not thinking a cigar, right? That's pretty funny. Wow. You teach me something new, man. I appreciate that.
Davidoff, I don't know if you have any of their lounges near you. I think their lounges are Blend or Burn. One's Rocky Patel, one's Davidoff. Davidoff lounges do food pairing events regularly.
Really? Holy shit. I did not know that.
Recently they did a Guy Fieri one where they brought in his knuckle sandwich and his Santos tequila, and I think they paired it with assorted tacos and stuff.
That's cool. Guy's my boy. If I ever Guy is one of the people I want to sit down at a bar at and just have drinks with and just shoot the shit with them the entire time.
Oh, I definitely agree. Are you a Food Network fan?
Oh, gosh, yeah. Diners, drive-ins, and dives. You kidding me, buddy? I could watch that every day for the rest of my life and be happy.
Did you see the one where Guy and Gordon switched places at each other's restaurants?
No, I didn't see that.
You need to find it. Like, you could see, like, the pure difference on their staff's faces as, like, Gordon is running Guy's restaurant. And as Guy is running Gordon's restaurant, like, Gordon's people are like, what is this niceness?
Gordon's one of the other people I'd want to sit down and have a drink with, man. I love Gordon Ramsay, dude. I mean, he's a bit of an ass, but I think it's a little bit of an act as well, but it's pretty cool, man. I mean, he's a cool guy. They're both very talented, strong businessmen as well, right? And I think I like Guy because he's got he dabbles in so many different things, right? The tequila, the cigars, the food. Like, I think it's pretty cool. The TV, right? I think it's pretty neat what he does. So that's pretty cool.
My opinion I used to think like he was just an ass until I watched Kitchen Nightmares. And that show, just seeing him being like so nice to these people that have failing restaurants.
Love that show.
And a lot of that came out of his pocket. There was one episode where one of the owners wanted to propose to his girlfriend, but their restaurant was failing, so he couldn't afford a ring. Gordon bought a ring and paid for a wedding.
That's really nice.
So that changed him for me.
You see a lot of that, like, you do see a lot of that in that show with him. There's that personal touch that he has. We just watched some of the newer episodes. There's a couple we're a little bit behind, but there was one in New Orleans that he did, and he sat down with the owner, the mom who ran the restaurant, her son, because he was in like a major car accident, and like just had a really like heart to heart talk with him, and it was really like it wasn't fake. I mean, I don't care what camera was around. You could see like he genuinely, truly cared, and like it almost put him in a mindset that really kind of, I don't know, propelled him to want to help even more, kind of thing. So I agree with you, man. He seems like a really good guy deep down, you know?
Definitely. I think like that whole Hell's Kitchen, what are you, an idiot sandwich? I think that's more of an act than it is like him.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, who wants to watch someone be nice to people for an hour?
That doesn't give you good TV and good ratings.
No.
I mean, shit, you don't, not at all.
What gets you good ratings? What are you, an idiot sandwich?
People yelling at you, calling you an idiot sandwich. So, all right, let's jump into another question here. So they say cigars are about time and bourbon is about patience. What's one lesson smoking and sipping have taught you about life?
Ooh, I like this question. To answer it with another cliche, to smell the roses. I worked a job that I could not stand for a very long time. And cigars were my outlet for it. I used to start my shift with a nice cigar in the morning, and at night I would finish my shift with a good cigar. It made me sit down and really realize what I had with me. My wife joins me for cigars. She doesn't smoke, but just being out there with her in the beautiful morning with the birds chirping, or at night with the beautiful sun setting, it really makes you realize what you have. And it doesn't matter what the day holds, just sitting down with the things that you love and the people that you love just makes life worth it.
Man, that's a great answer, and a great look into it, because life gets a little crazy sometimes. And man, you kind of hit me at the heart on that one too. Life gets a little crazy. Work gets a little busy. You get sucked in. You know, I've got 3 kids. I'm running around. Wife's running around doing stuff. So and you're right? Like birds chirping in the morning, sun's coming up. You know, I always like the quiet of the morning. I think it's one of my my favorite things about it. But yeah, man, sitting out with somebody you really truly care about, and then just taking it slow and easy and reflecting back on the things that are good in your life instead of the shit that you may have went through or preparing for. It's a really good way to look at that, man. A really good way to look at that.
Definitely. We're not promised tomorrow, and I would rather not be focused on my 9 to 5, but be focused on the whole rest of the time. Ideally, your work week is only 40 hours. And how many hours are really in a week? Should you be focusing on that 40 hours, or should you be focusing on what really matters during the rest of that time off?
Yep, true. Yeah, cheers to you for that, man. That's really insightful. And everybody listening, take that advice to heart, because shit, it really does matter. You know, you could die tomorrow. Unfortunately, you never promise the next day. So live every single day like it's your last, and enjoy it as much as you can, and appreciate the small things. So don't sweat the other stuff. It's not worth it, to be honest with you. So good. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. It's really good. I
mean, if you want me to, I can still throw like a life is too short to drink bad bourbon and smoke crappy cigars.
That's a good one too. No, I appreciate that, because it's like I said, You opened up there, and it was really like from the heart, right? Like you mean, and you truly believe it, right? I could tell that you believe that, and I think it's something that we all, again, we just forget about, because we get into the rat race every single day. I can't tell you the number of times that like every Monday night I go play cornhole with my buddies. And if we're not playing cornhole, we'll go out to dinner afterwards or beforehand, depending what time our match is. But if we're out of season, then we'll just go out to dinner. I can't tell you the number of times I've had a shit Monday, and like you leave the house and you try to shake it, and you try to shake it, and you try to shake it, and sometimes it takes you a while to do that, right? But you're trying to reposition your mindset and not worry about the things that, yeah, it's a job, you get paid, it's all those things, but that's not truly what matters in life. Your work and the stresses you get from that are not the things that are important in life, right? It's your friends, the people you're around, the experiences you have, and the time you share with them. So no, it's a really good that's a really good heartfelt answer, and I appreciate that. I think it's really great.
Definitely. Like you said, you just can't shake that Monday. And there was a good 3 or 4 month spurt where I was just an asshole. Work got stressful. I was snapping, and my wife eventually snapped back at me, and she said, life might be rough at work, but there are X amount of hours in a week, and stop focusing on those 8 hours a day that you're spending at work and focus on the other. I'm not a mathematician, so we're not going to try to do that math. But she said, stop focusing on the time you're at work when you're off work and focus on what you love to do. So she and I, we always play cards after work, and then if it's warm enough, we'll go outside for a cigar.
That's cool as hell. That's cool. Yeah, when it's warm enough.
I don't know what the weather's been like there.
It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. It's getting warmer, I promise.
I don't know what the weather's been like in Georgia, but this past winter in Kentucky, we've hit like negative digits, and I'm like, I'm from Florida. I don't do this. I want warmth.
Yeah, it's been a cold year. Yeah, it's been cold. I'm in North Georgia, so I get 4 seasons. Very very much get 4 seasons. And yeah, this year's been cold. Been really really cold. So it's starting to warm up. Today it was like 70 with zero humidity at all. Like because that's coming to the pollening's coming and the humidity's coming at some point. But man, it was gorgeous. So I like these days where it's warm, 65s to 70-ish, and then it's cold at night, so you have cooler mornings, and as soon as the sun sets, it gets cold, right? I love this season, whether it's spring or fall. And I dread the friggin' summers. I grew up in Massachusetts, and I've been here since I was 21, so I've been here 17 years now. Yeah, I just told you my age. I'm old. But I still can't get used to the damn summers in this state. I still can't. The freaking humidity is miserable. Miserable.
I mean, what's the humidity percentage down there? Florida, it's like 300%, so you're probably at, what, 150?
My corporate office is in Orlando, so I'm in Orlando at least 4 times a year. And the summertime in Orlando, like we have to go down in June. I'm already dreading it. I'm like, it is. You get off the plane and you're just like choked to death. It's terrible.
You know when you hit that Florida airspace because the mosquitoes are trying to go to Georgia.
Yeah, true that. All right, let's see. If you could pair only one. Oh, hold on. I just read that wrong. Bear with me. I'm 3 tequilas in right now. Like, thank God I'm only drinking the 80 proof. If you could only pair cigars with one category, bourbon, whiskey, or rum, for the rest of your life, which would it be and why?
So I might be cheating on this one. I'm going to go whiskey. Because bourbon is still a whiskey.
Fair. Yeah, that works. Definitely works.
Naturally, I'm more of a rye guy, like you said. I'd rather sit down with New Riff single barrel rye or the 8-year rye. I've never had a bad rye. I've had some bad bourbons.
We all have had bad bourbons.
But I would still definitely choose the whiskey route because it's still more versatile. You have scotches for that peaty, smokier single malts. You have ryes. Weededs. I'm not a weeded guy. Some people are.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So you don't like the sweeter. The weededs are normally sweeter in profile, right? So you're more of a savory guy, maybe not as much as a sweet guy with the wheats.
I prefer spicy and savory. I'm definitely more of a rye guy because of that high baking spice. With the, I usually get a lot more dark stone fruit notes from it.
Very cool. You got a favorite distillery or a couple of distilleries, favorite ones?
So I'm biased. I live in northern Kentucky. We have so many great craft distilleries. New Riff is there. New Riff doesn't produce anything bad. Neely makes great stuff too. But the one I've been feeling the most is very micro, very craft. It's called Pensive. They're only available here in Kentucky. They don't plan on growing to Ohio, Georgia. They just want to stay here in Kentucky.
That's cool. Yeah, I will commend you for the craft side of it, because your content, and I think the live that you did when I joined that time recently as well, you were talking about like the craft side of it as well, and I think it's something that we need to focus on more as influencers. And I've talked about this recently in another podcast too. In North Georgia, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, I think 5 or 6 different distilleries in North Georgia. I have visited one. Definitely not a fan. Sorry for that distillery. I will not name names. I will not poo-poo on them, but just definitely not a fan. I've tried it a couple times. Definitely not a fan. But there's other ones as well that I've heard are pretty good. And I told, I think it was Mr. Given on Instagram when we were having this conversation, I really would like to see more of a partnership and a community aspect with these smaller distilleries, which means there's got to be a little give and take on both sides, right? I'm not saying they have to give away freebies or anything like that, right? But I think it's spending time together as influencers with their brand, learning more about them taking the time to share about what they're doing in depth as well, and then I think allowing us to help them tell their story, right? I think that would be a fantastic approach to help them, whether they want to grow or not. It doesn't matter. There's still a story behind it in some way, shape, and form that others should understand and learn about, right? That's what this whole community is about. You're producing that product to share with other people, so you have to find ways to do that. So I don't know what that looks like yet, but definitely would love to start to do that with some of this distillery, some of those craft distilleries we have here in North Georgia. And it sounds like kind of the same thing. You have that passion for Pensive, you said. So it sounds like kind of the same kind of approach you'd like to take.
Definitely. Recently, I got to interview Pensive. That article is live on Cigar Public. I recently interviewed Fire and Flask, which is a micro distillery up here as well. I just got tired of seeing the same 12 distilleries on Instagram. It's all Buffalo, Bardstown, Makers, Beam. There's just so many other good distilleries out there that just aren't as big. And I think that despite how small they are, they deserve that love. But how many people aren't going to try Fire and Flask or aren't going to try Pensive because they haven't heard of them?
Mm-hmm. Yep. No, I mean, I've never heard of them because I'm not from Northern Kentucky. I think some of the ones here, like I actually can't even tell you all of them off the top of my head because I don't have them, like you said, like not brands that are in your face all the time. So I can't just rattle them off. But definitely I think we need to invest a little bit more time in there as influencers and see if we can create that relationship. Again, not in an effort to get bonuses or anything out of it, right? I think it's just more to share their story.
Definitely.
And give them a platform, give them a platform to share it with.
I personally don't believe in free bottles. I think that if you get the free bottles, a lot of people start padding their reviews. Every bottle I've reviewed except for one from Fire and Flask has been paid for.
Yep, that's good. That's good. Yeah, I guess in my free bottles I have 0.
I just don't think that we're big enough yet.
No, I don't care. It is what it is. If I ever get one, that would be great. But that's the thing though too. I think that brands need to understand though too, is just because you send a bottle to somebody doesn't mean that you're going to give them a 5-star review, right? I would expect that. Listen, if I had a distillery and I made bourbon and I sent it out to people and they all didn't like it, well, then that's fair, right? It's gonna hurt my distillery potentially.
Yeah.
But maybe I'm putting out a shit product, or maybe those people's palates just don't match what I'm making, right? So you have to understand that it's not all puppies and rainbows. It's not all perfect, So you have to grow and you have to adapt and you have to get that feedback. What was wrong with it? What did you like about it? Tell me more about it, and then try different things, right? And to improve your brand. So no, that's a good point. Really good point.
Definitely. And like I said, there's a lot of just great craft distilleries out there that deserve the love.
Hmm.
And I love it when you see the smaller distilleries grow to massive nationwide ones or international. Another one local to my area is Neely. They're a hidden barn if you see them on your shelves.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
And I went to school with a few of the Neely family, and I love seeing that they went from running moonshine on UK's campus to being a full-fledged active distillery. Same thing with New Riff. I remember when they built their distillery and how exciting that was, and now they're arguably one of the biggest names in bourbon.
Hmm. How long have they been around? Like
Ooh.
7 years, 6 years? Not even 7, 6 years, have they?
I think they've been around about that 7 year mark.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. That's what I was wondering because I mean I've been in this now for a while, but not 7 years a while. But I always knew about them, but they weren't, like you said, they weren't as prominent as they are now. Definitely seen the increase in their growth over the last probably year to year and a half. I think I've seen a lot of it.
Same thing with Augusta. They're about 30 minutes down the road from me, and they actually,
Hmm.
I did their tour before they even had a building.
Oh wow!
And now they
Really?
have a building, an actual still. They brought in Alex Castle from, I believe she worked at Old Dominic.
Hmm.
And now they're producing arguably some of the best barrel age that I've had for sure.
Really? That's cool. Yeah, I haven't tried any of their stuff yet. I see it all the time. I don't think I don't think I can get it in. Well, can I get it in Georgia? I'm trying to remember if I've seen a bottle in Georgia or if I've seen a bottle in Tennessee, or if I've seen one in Florida. I don't. One of those three states has it. I've seen it somewhere, but I don't think I've ever tried it yet. So I'll have to give it a shot next time I get a chance to see it.
I definitely recommend it. Their Old Route 8, that's their cash strength.
Yeah.
I believe I said barrel aged earlier. I meant barrel proof. Like you, I'm a few shots deep into the night.
No, it's fair. No, it's all good.
But
All good.
definitely,
All good.
their Old Route 8 is good. I had their River Proof series, and that'll put some hairs on your chest.
No, hey, that's good stuff. I'll take it. I'll take it. That's full. That's full flavor. That's what I like to call it. It's full bodied.
Definitely. And they also do cigar rolling events, which I'm hoping to eventually attend.
Oh, that's cool as shit. That's cool as hell, man. That's cool as hell. Yeah, I would like to try that. That's definitely something I think that now that you mentioned that, I don't think I've ever added that to the list of items for the bucket list before I kick the curb, but or kick the bucket or whatever. But yeah, no, that'd be pretty cool to roll my own cigars and go through that kind of class. I see videos of it. I think it'd be pretty neat to do.
It wasn't on my bucket list either until they started doing it there. Then I'm like, I don't need to go to Nicaragua to do that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I tried to make pasta before. I'll tell you this: if my cigar rolling skills or anything like my pasta making skills, we're screwed. We're screwed.
You and me both. I can't cook to save my life. My skills are in cocktails.
That's fair. Hey, it's still creativity. So that's awesome. No. All right, I think I know the answer to this one. So this might be a softball one, but it's the last one in this category. So I'll let you end with a quick, easy softball. If you were to create the ultimate bourbon, rum, whiskey, rye blend specifically designed for cigar smokers, what would its flavor profile be?
So that's a harder question than I think you mean for it to be. So what type of cigar are we talking about here? Connecticut,
Oh, you're getting
Sumatra,
deep.
Maduro?
You're getting deep. Well, then let's put it this way: you pick your favorite, right? So, if you were to come to market, your Guy Fieri, you were to come to market with an alcoholic spirit, and you were coming to the market with one cigar, what would those two be?
So, if I was coming into the market, I'm definitely going to go either the Sumatra or Corojo route, something with that firm spiciness, with that boldness on the full-bodied side. And I'm definitely going to probably go more for a high rye bourbon.
Okay.
Something that offers a lot more of that baking spice, but you still get that sweetness of the 51% corn. I guess I have to throw a little bit of wheat in there to even out this spice. But
You don't have to.
But definitely,
this is your blend. You do what you want to do.
Definitely would be a high rye bourbon. Something on the spicier side that still offers a whole lot of sweetness from that corn. Something that's aged about 4 to 5 years, so you're getting that oak from the barrel, and you're still getting a whole lot of those barrel flavors without it being overwhelming.
That's very cool. No, it sounds good. I'm a high rye bourbon fan, so that I would buy your shit if you dropped it. I would buy it, honestly. To be honest with you, so I like Wild Turkey 101 a lot. You budget pour, right, and easy to get and easy to pour, mixed with drinks and everything like that. I like the high rye contents and a lot of that stuff. So I'm a high rye guy for sure.
Same way. I like just the boldness of those ryes.
Yep. Agreed. All right, that's a wrap for part 1 of my community spotlight interview with 2_cigar. A huge thank you to him for joining this podcast and for all of you for tuning in, sipping along, and being part of this amazing community. If you enjoyed the show, please take a moment to like, share, and leave a review. It helps me grow and reach more spirit lovers like you. You can also follow me on Instagram at Dram_Amateur for updates, behind-the-scenes content, and more. Your support means the world to me, and I can't wait to keep sharing this journey with you. Until next time, remember, life's too short for bad pours, so make every dram count. Cheers. Thank you for tuning into the Dram Amateur Podcast. I hope you enjoyed our deep dive into the world of spirits. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. I certainly appreciate all the feedback and support. Stay tuned for more exciting episodes as we continue our exploration of bourbon, whiskey, rum, tequila, mezcal, and beyond. Cheers, and until next time, keep savoring every sip.